I mean, every day, we learn every day. Although this, I mean, fighting corruption is not the kind of situation where you do trial by error. It's either the cases are firm or they are not firm. Now, to answer my question, what I'm saying is, look, what the allegations against the Secretary General, Secretary to the federal government, I mean, happened months ago. The Senate said this. On the basis of some of these things that the Senate said, a lot of Nigerians out there are clamoring for the scrapping of the Senate. It's all out there that we don't need Senate. They are noisemakers. But then, how does it sound that it was this Senate that brought this out and said, look, there is something wrong with this Secretary General of the Federation. And now the president is acting on it. Look, the impression is being given that there is, 2 days ago, a friend said, when they were talking about monies being buried in graves, in graveyards, and eventually it turned out that it was photoshopped and that the thing happened in Ecuador. So many Nigerians don't know that that was fake news. Now, when that thing came out and it blew open, a friend who is based in the UK said, he said, well, that news was planted on social media by anti-government miscreants. It wasn't government. And I said, look, come here. You should know better. Now, a few days ago, the Minister for Information said, this government has evidence that people are burying monies in graveyards. And 2 days later, pictures surfaced of people actually burying money from graveyards. And then the best you can do is to tell me, an educated Nigerian, that it was anti-government miscreants that planted this news. And the EFCC has not debunked, they didn't debunk it. What if nobody was able to bring forth this information? That is it. What I'm saying is, it's a government that appears to be fighting against itself. DSS is fighting EFCC. AGF is fighting EFCC. The Congress is fighting presidency. Presidency is fighting judiciary. And these are issues that ordinarily, take for instance another issue. I hope you are still with me. The issue, for instance, of when they said the Attorney General of the Federation, the Vice President was quoted as saying, we don't need to represent Magu because it's not necessary in law. I was shocked. Why will you present the man twice? And then suddenly you said it's not necessary. The law does not require that. Even if it's not necessary, assuming. And then what's the basis? There's a private practitioner, somebody out there, Mr. Femi Falana, had pointed out, his argument is very strong, that it's not necessary. I mean, even if the EFCC Act says it should be presented for confirmation, if it ultraviolates the Constitution is supreme. Now, nobody saw that since 1999. Are you with me? And then a private practitioner said that. What was the opinion of the Attorney General of the Federation on that? Why didn't the Attorney General of the Federation have an opinion on that? That is the situation. You cannot run government ad hoc. A government must be prepared. It must act wholly. They must speak with one voice. I'm not saying all the different parts, judiciary, executive, they must agree all the time. But these are very small issues that they could sit down and iron out.
And these issues are giving you a headache.
Big migraine.
How do you sort it?
Well, unfortunately, I am personally not in a position to sort it out. What I am saying is that many Nigerians out there, they are totally distracted. They are not facing the issues. Now, for instance, I feel sad that some Nigerians will come out and say, scrap the Congress. And body language of the government, Mr. President, who would not talk about the 13 persons killed in southern Kaduna over the Easter period, who will not talk about the 880 persons killed in southern Kaduna over the Christmas period, will congratulate Erdogan for winning on a referendum that makes him an absolute ruler. Now, it saddens me that gradually another institution is about to be killed. Because Nigerians are actually buying into the argument that the Senate is useless. They take a lot of our money. I agree with that, though. A lot is being spent on them. It's not necessary.
But they say
should
just
they,
about 2 or 3, less than 5% of the national budget.
Well, 5% of national budget is a lot of money.
But they're asking, okay, well, if that's the case, what about
the presidency?
What happens elsewhere?
Oh yes, that's what I'm saying. The Nigerians, unfortunately, because the information that is supporting the request that the Congress is scrapped is coming from the executive. That look, see what they are doing. Everything points to the fact that the Congress is useless. But with what has happened to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, at least one good thing has come out of Nazareth, which is they pointed out something. They've also talked about Magu. I may not agree with them wholly, but then there must be those who, if we don't want democracy, as we are beginning to realize, we can as well scrap democracy. But if it's going to be democracy, then there must be president, there must be executive, legislature, and the judiciary. And what Nigerians are clamoring for, we must be very careful.
Look, I think Mark wants to go to a couple of questions. Mark, go ahead.
Well, that question about, the DGNIA being involved here wasn't thoroughly thrashed, Mr. Oloyede. Just wondering, if, for instance, because we have been told that the monies were approved for covert operations. Now, I'm trying to imagine a scenario where EFCC officials are asking, Mr. OK, for instance, what security operations, and he says, I cannot disclose them because I do not have the clearance to do so. Wouldn't that pose a problem, I would say, in the way of the investigators? Don't you think that this is one way of handling it first before the investigators finally take over?
Oh yes. Okay. Sorry, I didn't attend to that question. Now, first of all, I believe that in the case of Babachir and the NIA Director General, they should not have been lumped together. I mean, this particular case about security clearance and all that. Now, the issue of security clearance, disclosing what the money is meant for, that can be handled at presidency level. You don't need to set up a special committee of persons. I mean, the Attorney General, if for instance a crime is disclosed, the Attorney General of the Federation is the one who is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that charges are filed. Now, the NIA Director General says, oh, I don't have security. Who will give him security clearance?